Okay, so the first part of assessing a front foot is checking that the coronary band and the hairline is level and even, and it should drop off a bit towards the heels. Lily's hairline and band seems to be pretty even, and it does drop off towards the back.
Do you need me to do the side?
No, it should be.
Okay, whoops.
We'll get that in a different shot. Then the second part is from a front angle. We're going to take a long ruler and draw a line through the center of the knee, fetlock, and hoof joints. So that should be about the center. And then note any deviations. So Lily's knee to me looks pretty normal. I do think that the medial side of her fetlock joint appears to be a little higher than the lateral side. And obviously her foot is not centered correctly. As you can see, the tip of the toe appears to be more on the medial side than the center, which in general messes up her lateral medial balance. And that's what we can get from our first 2 points of assessment.
Can you put it back up to?
Okay, so now from the side of the horse, we're going to determine the weight-bearing portion of her heels. So I'm going to place my thumb on one side of the widest point of her cannon bone and my index finger on the other. So first we have to find that, and that should be about here. And then we're going to run them down onto the fetlock joint and find the center of that. And that should be about there. So that should represent the center of the rotation of the fetlock joint. And when we drop a vertical line to the ground from here, it should brush the hoof wall heel. So we're going to leave this, bring it up to the top. So hers actually, it runs into the heel, but it should end right where the hoof wall down here at the bottom is. So it is above her line. So it touches in front, so this means the horn tubules on the hoof wall have probably been pushed under, and the heel is underrun, which would appear to be true of all of her feet, actually. So the next part that we're going to do is we're going to imagine a line running through the center of her pastern to the coronet band. So we're going to say the center of her pastern is about here. It'll meet the coronary band here, and even without dropping the line from here, we're going to be able to tell that it's not in the center of her foot, but that's what we would do next. But this point should theoretically be close to the center of the rotation of the short pastern and coffin bones. That was rude. If we had dropped a line from there, it should have bisected equally the weight-bearing portions of the foot, but obviously there's a lot more space in front than behind, so that would not be true of Lily. Okay, so next we're going to pick up her leg, and then she's going to have to relax. But this vantage point, I should be able to sight down her cannon bone and see even amount of hoof on each side. Her whole hoof is out of balance, obviously. So down the sight line, there isn't an equal amount of hoof on either side. Then when we gently allow the toe to touch the ground, please don't put your foot down. The point at which the toe meets the ground should be the natural breakover point. That should be where the toe of the shoe is placed. So that, put it back down. That's right about here. Yep. you're fine. If it was in balance, the apex of the frog should point directly to the foot. Obviously, it's not pointing to her actual toe because hers is out of balance, but her natural breakover point should be right about here. One of our last things is looking from the front of the horse. We're going to look at the angle of the lateral and medial walls. So they should be the same, and the lower the angle, the more stress is put on the posterior portion of the hoof and limb. So hers, though out of balance, to me, it looks like the angles are about the same. Maybe the interior would be a little deeper of an angle. It kind of flares out more. But to me, they look about the same. And then you're okay. We're going to check the axis. And for a balanced foot, you should get a straight line through the pastern to the coronary band. Hers obviously isn't. We would say that hers bends upward through the coronary band and points up, which results in a long toe and a low heel, which is obvious of her foot.